Good afternoon. Hope all's well. So today we are going live with a property investor who is London based, but their property investment portfolio is up in Amsterdam. And it's going to be quite cool knowing about the market, the property market in Amsterdam, uh, of how it works and what are the few tricks that people have up their sleeves in regards to investing in property outside London. So it should be good. Here we have her, Sherry Olia. Leia. Okay, send a request.
Super. How are you? Good, good. All is well. Thank you for joining me today. Appreciate it. So the whole point of me doing this today with yourself is what you do, how you do it. I know you're a property investor, and we spoke briefly about that you're London-based, but your property portfolio or your investment portfolio is up in Amsterdam, which is good to know because I just don't want to talk about the London property market and get people bored, right? It's all about doing stuff in different places. And that's the whole point of doing these live sessions. I mean, I've been speaking to people in the US, estate agents up in the US, so it's good to know about different market strategies that people have been applying. Um, and differently, right? A lot of people they don't know about the market in Amsterdam. I don't know about the market in Amsterdam, so it'd be good for you to enlighten me and the other viewers of what the market's like. Um, so before we start, Sherry, if you can introduce yourself as to who you are and what you do, and then we can get the conversation going. Okay, okay, okay. And those properties that you buy for the fund, they're UK based all over the world. Okay, okay, okay. 22. That's amazing. That's a good achievement. With your own funds or finances? Okay. Fine. So let me just take you back a bit. Obviously, we know what you're doing now. Uh, so in terms of what you're doing currently, and you mentioned that you studied in Amsterdam, right? So you're from Amsterdam. You did your school, college, university in Amsterdam, in the UK. So let's just go through Amsterdam, your college and university time. I mean, did you always think that you wanted to get into the property investment sector or property business as such? I mean, did you have any other aspirations or dreams when you were growing up? Oh, okay. So did you get into a law firm in the UK or in Amsterdam? And you didn't like it. Can I ask you what law did you do? So it's something to do with business, right? I guess. Okay. So why did you study law then? It's the Asian culture too. Lawyer, doctor, or engineer, or accountant, or architect. You know, it's one of those. Um, yeah, sure. So when you finished your law degree and you went into a law firm, what was it that you didn't like about the law? Uh, uh, but couldn't you start up your own law firm to do that and work towards your dreams? So you wanted to instruct the lawyer, basically. You didn't want to get instructions. That's good to know. Okay. And did you always have this in your mind that you wanted that passive income to come in? Okay. 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 Did you sort of do any courses or something like that to understand what the property market is like or something? So you went to a broker and that broker sort of advised you that okay, Olia, this property, Sherry, this property is good. It's perfect. No. So take me through that process. Okay. So you mean it would be more of a residential area than a tourist area in Amsterdam? I mean, I've been to Amsterdam 3 times, and all I've stuck to is that canal side, you know. So I've never really sort of ventured out into uh, the residential areas of Amsterdam. And the fact is that when I go there as a tourist, right? So it's like you don't really get the time to go out and see the residential area. But it's good that I've got you today and you're talking about it, so it'll be good to understand. So, um, in terms of the investment that you did, can you just take me through of, okay, you saw the demographics, you saw the location, you saw the pricing, um, and what were the returns like when you took that on? Wow. 2015. And that 12% guaranteed or no? It was just okay. Okay. Can I just ask you something here quickly? Like over here in London, we have like let's say you want to buy a property. I'm sure you must have come across this with your property investment. In London, like let's say you're looking at properties in Liverpool, Manchester, even London right now. A lot of people are offering guaranteed rents. Is there a concept in Amsterdam also about that? Okay, okay, okay. And over there, there are no such things as a government. The government pays rent for people. Like over here, you have benefits, housing benefits, and all. You have it there also. Yeah, because it's a bit low. Do you have AirPods? Yeah, it's pretty clear with AirPods normally. So it's good to know about these things, you know. It's always opens up your brain kind of in terms of different cities, different investment structures, but yet bricks and mortar. So you would say that all these training courses and everything that goes on around in the world about property investment are all bullshit. Hello? It's a bit low, but it's okay. We can carry on. Better, slightly better than before. Yeah, it's all right. Um, so just coming back to the point where the returns, right? So you mentioned that there are housing benefits that are paid by government, by the Dutch government in Amsterdam to people who can't afford the rentals and everything. Okay. Um, so when you got your first property, what were the steps that you took towards the investment? I mean, how did you raise the finance? Uh, in terms of brokering, who did you go to, all that kind of stuff? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. That's all right. No worries. We can wait. So do you want me to cancel this now, or what you can do is you can I will keep talking live and then you can join in again from your other phone. Yeah. So you can cancel this when you're ready. Sorry guys, we're having a bit of trouble here about the audio. Yeah, Zoe, if you just wait for 5 minutes, we'll get that sorted. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. I hope your internet's pretty quick, so sorry guys, just bear with us. We're having some technical difficulties. Yeah, normally, I mean, I've noticed that when I speak directly through the phone, the voice is pretty low, but when I put AirPods on, it's pretty cool. It's easier to be heard. Connection seems fine. Just share your audio. So yeah, it's all right. Is it downloaded now? Yeah, we tried without headphones, Zoe, and it was pretty lower than what we had now. So just bear with us. We'll get this conversation started again. It's all right. Don't worry. We can wait. Um, my journey, I've discussed it so many times, right? Every time I'm speaking to a new person, that it's always my journey. But yes, I've been in the property industry for about, God knows, 11 years now. Started doing things like property surveys and all that kind of stuff, and then I got bored out of it. And the main aim still today is to become a property developer. Um, Slowly but surely, gotta get there. During that time, what I've done is brokered for properties all across London, all the way to uh, Scotland. 6 months ago, I sold a hotel up in Scotland, Glasgow, which was good. I mean, yeah, it's the property. If you think that the property investment world is pretty deep, then the property brokering world, wow, it's a journey. I mean, when I started, I was doing things like the reason for me to ask you about housing benefit is because one of my first deals was a rental to the local council to house their council tenants for housing benefit, and it was guaranteed income for the owner. Um, and it was great. I mean, at that point, councils were paying substantial money because it was under the Labour government. And today, actually, these housing benefits have been slashed by, uh, wow, like more than half, I would say. Um, but yet people are on that, and they are getting their housing benefits, I guess. But over the time from that, are you there? Super. So you can cancel this and you can hop back on again. Okay, so we're having a bit of issues with Sherry's audio. Should be live shortly. And we'll talk all about property investment in London and property investment in Amsterdam. It's a great topic. Super excited. And I want to cover a lot of this over the next few days, speak to brokers all around the world, and just see how they do differently. I mean, I spoke to a broker all the way in the US a few days ago. I've got another one on Monday. Should be good. Let's see. Let's see. So let's wait for Sherry. Okay, got an issue. Sorry guys, whoever's watching, normally it's not the case that I have this. Here we go.
Hey, do you hear me better now?
Oh, perfect. Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, this is much better.
Okay, perfect.
Super. So we were talking about your time in the property, your first steps towards investing in property in Amsterdam. If you can take us through that,
Yeah.
please.
I think for Dutch people to get into property is quite good because you don't have to have the big down payment. So
Okay.
people could buy their first property relatively easily.
Okay.
Another thing is that a lot of people think you have to have a so-called vast contract or permanent contract, which
Okay.
is not the case. You could buy a property if you have a contract and a intention of your employer that they want to keep you.
Okay.
So I think a lot of people sort of overestimate the difficulty of buying your first property.
Okay.
The one thing that people need to remember is some people think that once you buy your property, you're set, the money will just come, or you'll just be able to buy more and more properties. This is not the case. I believe if you buy the wrong property, it could be your biggest liability. And the moment people realize this is when they cannot pay their mortgage. So people have to be really realistic with buying their first property. But if you buy the right first property, it could be your first step towards.
And did you make the right choice by doing that?
Yeah. Yes, I think I did. It worked out for me. Yeah. So
I mean,
far.
you mentioned that you were getting 12% return. Is that still the case in today's day and age?
No,
Are you still?
no.
So has that gone down or?
Yes, exactly. So that property I'm currently trying to sell, because right now, even though I started off so high, because I'll go into other videos one of these days in terms of returns for my followers so they can understand more about that. But right now the return is more towards the 6%,
Wow.
which is actually below what I want. I normally only invest if it's 7% or more. Okay. So it's not fitting my current portfolio. So that's why I'm actually trying to sell it so I could get the money out, the overvalue, the equity, and use that towards other investments that will perform that 7%.
And you're pretty massive. I mean, all your property investments are just in Amsterdam.
Yes, correct.
Is
They're
that
all
for a specific reason that you have it there?
yes, actually, because Amsterdam, since 2015 until now, Amsterdam has increased with 65%. And I sort of felt that. I
The
saw that
property
Amsterdam was
market.
changing. Yes, property value
Wow.
in Amsterdam. I
Wow.
saw that the value was changing, and I was living in London, and I didn't really feel that same energy in London.
Where
I
are
feel,
you? Where are you currently based in London?
Brixton
Brixton.
or
Let's take
Stockwell, in between both. Yeah.
let's take Brixton Stockwell for example
Yeah.
right now.
Hmm.
A one bedroom flat over there would cost you what, something around 400, I would say.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's fair. Yeah.
I'm talking about a nice building, good location within
Yeah.
Brixton, all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Compare that to Amsterdam in sort of a relatively
Similar.
similar area.
Yeah.
What's the price of a one bedroom that you would get over there?
Mm, I would say maybe 220,000.
Wow. Literally half the value.
Yeah, exactly.
And a return for about what, 7%?
Well, the truth is, Amsterdam. So when I started investing, the returns were really high. Amsterdam has really, really blown up, and
Okay.
the value, like the prices have gone up as well.
Okay.
So I think in Amsterdam right now, you could sort of still get 6%, 7% if you're
So
lucky.
would you say that Amsterdam currently is like a bubble to be bursting? Right. It's there.
You're asking me difficult questions, and I have different interests.
No, no,
To
no.
be fair, I think
I'm not trying to say that, but I'm just trying to understand that
yeah.
if
Um,
the values have increased so much,
yeah.
so drastically over
So I think
2015.
so. Historically, what I
Yeah.
think is that you could buy a property in Amsterdam, and even if it wasn't the best buy, the property value would go up. Right now, I personally don't buy properties on market value. I
Okay.
only buy properties if I can get it below market value because I have a connection with the owner, I have a connection with the broker. The people are in a rush; they're desperate
And
for an
what's below market value for you? What, 30%, 20%,
no. I think
50%,
15%, 10%,
10%?
15%.
But but wouldn't that be according to the market before? I'll get into this about COVID and the lockdown and everything. But don't you think that people were looking for 10, 15% before
No.
COVID?
So Amsterdam is completely different than London. In London, when
Okay.
you look at properties last year, the
Okay.
chances are they're still online now. In Amsterdam, before, you had like 30 people coming to a viewing, everyone's overbidding. The realtor will give you one opportunity to put out your bid, and if you didn't get the property, that's it. Like
So
properties
like
would sell
best
within
and
1 week.
best and final basically. That's it. That's what you get the chance
Exactly.
of.
Exactly. So it was very much a vendor's market.
Okay.
Very, very much. It was very, very competitive.
Okay.
Um,
Those aren't sustainable price points and will not produce realistic projections. Okay.
You mean long term? King 4040? You mean in Amsterdam long term?
It's good to have people coming up with their comments. This is why I like to do live sessions on
Yeah, no, it's interesting.
Instagram, because
Yeah,
people can get involved with the
yeah,
information that you're
yeah,
generating, the knowledge that you're producing. I agree with buying off market, of course. I mean,
yeah.
people
But
say a
King
lot of this.
4040, one thing
Yeah.
that you have to realize, because I actually know him and I know he's active in London and I think Ghana, um, it's a complete different market. I know it sounds really weird to you being in London because, but I see both angles. Amsterdam is just so different than London in terms of buying. It's really very much a vendor's market in Amsterdam pre COVID-19.
Question. If
Question.
someone were to come to you right now and
Yeah.
wanted a bit of advice on investing
Yes.
in Amsterdam, would you be open to doing that?
Absolutely. Yeah. Of course. I'm always
Okay.
repping my city, and I'm happy to guide people and advise them. I'm a little bit busy at the moment, but if I have some minutes, I definitely want to help
It's
them.
good to know that people are keeping busy during lockdown. It's great to know
No,
that. You know, it's
I'm
a good
happy
feeling
to help
because
people.
other people are like, oh, there's nothing happening. There's this, there's that.
No,
Oh, it's not.
there's still a lot of things happening. you know, it might be a different price point.
Yeah.
So transactions are still happening, at least in Amsterdam, but it's just a bit of different prices, so different dynamics.
Just to sort of take you back a bit over here, 12% returns to 6% returns today. What's
So
changed?
my first property has more than doubled in price
But
since
your
I
returns
bought.
have gone down.
Sorry?
But your rental income has gone down.
No, so the property value has more than doubled in price, but my rent has quite been stable.
Okay.
It hasn't increased as much. So that's why I said I started off with like 12% relatively, and then now it's like 6% based on the value of the property today.
Today. So it's still good. I mean, okay, I think you might not get the 12%, but then your capital appreciation has increased on
Everyone,
that
if you
property.
find me a deal of 12% in Amsterdam, call
You're
me.
taking it. You're
Call
snapping
me.
it up.
Call me. Yeah.
Now, comparing where you've bought a property in Amsterdam,
Yes.
comparing it to the city center of Amsterdam near the
Yes.
station and where all is
Yes.
happening around there, how much would you get a one bedroom out there for?
A one bedroom in central of Amsterdam. 400,000 maybe, 415,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say that center of Amsterdam, would you compare it to something like Oxford Street?
The center of Amsterdam, yeah, like Mayfair.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mayfair. And over here, Mayfair is starting at million.
Yeah, exactly.
That
So it's
is
a complete
that
different ballgame. It's completely different. That's what
absolutely. And
I think it's
the
also one
return
of the
on the city
reasons.
center would be something the same, around the same 6%, 7%.
No, I think in the city center you're more towards the 4%.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Or
And
4 or 5 maybe. Yeah.
and before pre-COVID and all that kind of stuff, was there a massive boom of Airbnb and short let apartments and all
Yes.
that kind of stuff?
Well, there were restrictions, but historically, back in the day, they were giving Airbnb permits. So there's
Okay.
people that have Airbnb permits. Then they changed the regulations and they became a bit stricter on it. So,
Okay.
but there are Airbnb homes, and all those Airbnb homes that were rented out are now on the market. So it's a bit
For sale,
well, for rental. So
for rental,
yes,
on a
so
long-term basis.
exactly. So a lot of Airbnb owners are now putting their properties on the market for long term, and those long term properties for rental have now to compete with properties like my own or other landlords. So it's a bit, things have really changed in the last 1 month, I would say. It went from a vendor's market to a landlord market to a buyer's market and a renter's market. That's the big changes due to COVID-19.
Cool. We've got a comment here by King 4040. Amsterdam is something else I can even front. I did my research last year. I'm only concerned about the long run.
Okay,
What if you
4040, we'll have a discussion after this. I'll see what he says so you can tell me your concerns.
Sure. Okay, that's great. So how many properties did you then go up buying after your first investment?
So after my first investment, I bought my first property, and then it took like 3 years for it to double in price. So after it doubled, I bought it in 2015. No, 2 years. I bought it in 2015. Then by 2017, it was doubled in price. Then I remortgaged that, took some of that equity, and bought 3 other properties.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So
around the same area?
Then, interesting fact. So there's 3 areas that I really, really recommend in Amsterdam, where I invest. It is, first of all, Belmer, also known as Amsterdam Zuidoost.
Okay.
Secondly, Amsterdam Nieuw-West.
Okay.
Thirdly, Amsterdam North. Those are the areas in Amsterdam where the prices per square meter are still relatively low, lower than anywhere else in Amsterdam, but the rental prices are almost the same. And that's how you can see your returns.
Same as, I mean, you mentioned that they're same, but same to what? I mean, all those 3.
Similar as in the center of Amsterdam.
Got you.
It's all over. So the rental prices are quite the same. There's not that much different, relatively speaking. But then the prices per square foot are a lot lower. So you buy houses cheaper, but then you rent them out almost the same. So the returns are higher in those areas. In addition to that, those specific areas, I do expect some growth. Amsterdam, Belmer or Southeast is historically seen as a bad area, sort of the hood.
Okay.
I wasn't allowed to come there as a child. Now I go there every day because I do a lot of stuff there.
So do you think it's regenerating over there right now?
Is it, sorry?
Is it
Yeah, it's
regenerating the
regeneration.
area?
It has
Okay.
literally has regeneration all over it.
So we've got a comment by Miss Mary Mack. How easy
Yes.
is it for a Londoner to invest there being they don't live there?
Interesting question. It is possible, definitely. There's only one bank that finances it, but it is possible,
And
definitely.
you can get that person's foot in there through the bank and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And
Absolutely.
you can take them from start to finish, get the property rented, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. You
Yeah,
can
I
do
did
that.
help them. Yeah, of
Cool.
course. Yeah.
Great stuff. So Miss Mary Mack, do contact Sherry and she will take you through it.
Yeah.
So then when did you come to London?
I came to London in 2000. I bought my property, then I came to Amsterdam, London. I lived in Cambridge actually. I did a master's in Cambridge. I
Wow.
lived there for 1 year, and
And
then after
was
that,
that what can I ask? What was that degree in?
business management.
Okay, cool.
So
So
I
it's
did
good. So
business.
now you've done law and you've got the business, so you've got the whole, you know, no one can
I did
mess with you,
business
I
law
guess.
and business. So I have it from different angles. Yes.
Good
Yeah.
stuff. Um, and then so you finished your degree at did you kind of work during that time when you were at uni, or no, it was just
It
pure
was too
study?
intense. I couldn't even sleep. I was
Seriously?
stressed out. I had to study day and night. Um, I could maybe at most sleep for 5 hours because I just had to study like all the time. It
Wow.
was really
And
intense for me.
was it a year's course, 1 year course? Okay.
Yeah, it was a 1 year course. Yeah, but I
And
did
then when
that. It
you
was really good.
finished, yep, sorry. Go ahead.
That's all. That's all.
No, no, go ahead. You were saying you did that and
Yeah, so it was cool. It was nice, and I actually feel like it helps me a lot because as COVID-19 really makes it apparent, is a lot of people look at deals and they look at the return and they just look at the price value and they say, oh, it's a good deal. But what COVID-19 makes really apparent is that the deal is part of a wider economy. So you can have the
mm,
best deal on paper. You can have an Airbnb, short rental, or service accommodation or whatsoever, and it looks really, really good on paper. But then when the wider economy and things happen around it, you can see how vulnerable you are. So I
yep,
think
absolutely.
doing that degree and sort of understanding wider economy and things that are going on in the world, it helps me understand property a little bit better and makes me more adaptable. But
Cool.
even I was shocked with COVID-19. Like I was really, really shocked. And now I've learned from it, and I'm like, wow, it's not just as easy as buying a property and putting some
I mean,
money down.
I must say that it's changed everyone's perspective towards life, towards investment, towards everything really. Anything you want to put in context right now has changed because that's how it's been sort of played out to be, kind of change the perspective of the human being. But that's another topic. So when you finish your degree, how was it easy to get into the job market over here? I mean,
Well,
was
it was quite easy to get a job. You might not just have the job that you want.
okay,
So I finished. I knew I wanted to stay in London, sort of learn more about the property world in London.
okay,
And then I was like, I came from Cambridge. I could get any job I want, but that wasn't really the case. So I just applied to some companies. I got a role relatively easy, but it wasn't the job that I wanted because I started off doing lettings, which is great, and I've learned a lot from it.
at a estate agent.
No, I worked for the property investment fund that I'm still working
Okay,
for, but I was doing
okay,
lettings. So I
okay,
studied in my bachelor's, my master's, my other masters, and then I was opening doors for people. Um, so lettings was really useful. I really liked it, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted to do. So, but
it sort of shaped you up in the way to sort of deal with people, customer
yes,
services, all that kind of stuff.
definitely.
And especially when you've come from Amsterdam, all your life you've lived in Amsterdam, it's good to see how people sort of
For
work in
me,
a
it
different
was good
environment,
because
different culture.
I think for me it was good because I was quite a softie, and I think it's a doggy dog world, especially in the property world. People will try to do all sorts of things. They'll try to cut
Absolutely,
you out. They'll try to
absolutely.
do, and if I didn't have that experience as a lettings agent, I don't think I would be able to manage or navigate myself in that industry. I still have sometimes a bit of difficulties with it. I'm like, wow, did that just happen? Is he really
So
just
it's
trying to cut me
so
out?
it's experience, right? It's the fact that
Exactly.
university doesn't teach you experience.
So I think what a lot of people fail to realize is that, you know, you can have a perfect tenant on paper, just how you could have the perfect deal on paper, but
Yeah.
the perfect tenant could turn out to be a nightmare. Like a lot of perfect tenants on paper, they have a good job, they have this. Sometimes they turn out
Like
to have a
right
lot of
now, like
trouble.
totally right now, like how it
Yeah,
is. I mean, people would think that bricks and mortar, perfect investment, but that investment is only an investment when your tenant is paying you rent. And if that tenant is not paying rent,
yeah.
then it's basically yeah.
I have tried rent to rent actually. I had 2 rent to rent properties in London.
Okay,
My phone rang.
it's all right, no
Um,
worries.
so I did try rent to rent. Someone asked if we tried rent to rent.
Yep,
Have you tried
yep.
rent to rent?
I mean, I broker for property, so I do get clients who come up to me and says that, okay, I want to do a rent to rent or a rental guarantee. Like right now, I'm going through a property deal where it's a lease option. So they're
Yeah,
going to lease it for 3 years and then they're going to
yeah,
buy it after 3 years. It's a good one because they wanted 5 units. The owner said, no, take all 8 of them. And then they
yeah.
said, okay, we'll take 8. So it's good. I mean, it's a new option that I'm working towards. I've never done a lease option before,
Okay.
but let's see how it goes.
Yeah. I have tried rent to rent. I had 2 rent to rent properties
Okay.
in London. So
What's
what
your
we did,
experience on that if you can share?
yeah, of course. So for me, so what we did, we had so we took the property as a whole and then sub rented it as
Okay.
per room, and that's
So
how we
like
used to
a
make.
so like a HMO kind of thing.
Exactly.
Did you have
Exactly.
to get a license for that?
Sorry. Yeah. Did we have to get a license for one of the properties? We did have to get a license. Yes, we
And
did.
was it easy?
My business partner worked with it at the time.
Okay.
So, but I think it was relatively easy. Yeah, we just had to make some changes.
I'm in
Um,
the process of rent to rent. I'm just getting started, but letting agents are being hard with me because they want to see a certain amount of funds like 36x monthly rent.
yeah,
So I
so I
think
think
I'll co-source deals and have the,
I
I
think
mean,
for me personally, I got my rent to rent properties from the landlord directly. I think if
okay.
you go through an agency, it's more difficult to get a good rent to rent deal. So I think look for desperate landlords, and they will maybe rent out the property to you directly. My
Uh,
personal experience
yeah.
wasn't that great though, so that's something that I would say. It's
The
something that,
question, the $1 million question is, where do you find your direct landlords?
yeah, where do you find them? Well, you basically just have to ask everyone in your environment. Do you have an auntie that wants to rent out their property? Are they not selling it? Like you have to. I just tell
So
everyone what to do.
close contacts basically. Just go up to close
Exactly. You
contacts,
tell everyone in
speak
your
to them.
environment.
Got you.
You could try to put letters in their mailboxes.
Got
You
you.
could also look. A good tip that I got of recent is you look online to see which landlord is advertising their house, and then if they've advertised it for a couple of weeks, months, you'll call them to have a viewing, and then tell them you actually want to rent it of them.
Okay.
I think that is something you could consider. That's how we got our deal through contacts. But rent to rent is a good model, especially if you don't have a lot of funds. I think it's a good way to create a cash flow. It just takes away one of the things that I find very beautiful about properties, that the capital appreciation and people paying your mortgage. So that's the aspect of rent to rent that I don't like. Because the reason why I think real estate is a really good investment is because you make money 3 ways. You get your money from your cash flow, you get your money because your property goes up if you buy the right property, and you get your money because your mortgage is getting paid. And with rent to rent, you're missing those 2 of the 3 options that are making
The cash
properties
flow.
so, yeah, to make it so beneficial.
So do you think it's as a landlord, it's not a good option to take on?
As a landlord, or you
As
mean
a
as?
as a as a landlord. I mean not as a tenant, but as a landlord. If you're
Oh
the
no, no,
property
no.
owner,
It is a good option to take
is it
on
a good
rent.
option for the landlord to take that on? So in effect, it's guaranteed rental, right? That you are you guaranteeing that rent to the owner?
Yeah, yeah.
So you are okay, fine. And then when you sort of take the property on, is it like you got to do a lot of work to it? You got to subdivide the rooms and all that kind of stuff.
It
Did you?
depends, right? So the properties that we took on at the time, we had to do a little bit of work, like cosmetic refurbishments to it, and
Okay.
then we furnished everything. So it
Okay.
was a lot of work. Oh, here in the north, capital appreciation is almost a joke. I don't even think I've seen some property in the north go up even more than 1,000 in the last 10 years. That is true. So,
That is the problem that a lot of these northern cities have: Birmingham, Manchester, Liverpool.
yeah,
Look, if you're looking for capital appreciation and you want that capital appreciation, stick to London.
yeah.
Otherwise, do not look anywhere else.
Well, you don't need to
The
stick to London. You can come to Amsterdam.
Oh, you can come to Amsterdam, speak to Sherry about it, and she will take you through it. But the point is that when it comes to rental yield,
Yeah.
Birmingham, Manchester, Liverpool, Newcastle, Edinburgh, all these places can stack up. But when it comes to capital appreciation, you will not get that. But then it sort of balances itself out, right? Because you've had a rental income at the 8%, 10%, Edinburgh, for example, 12% returns. So getting a capital appreciation of maybe 2-3% over 10 years is not bad, because you've always got that 10% return to sort of make up for it. But it's
I
good
see.
to know about the different things that you're doing. So what are you working? Question. Yes, this is the question. How have you adopted your life to this, or your work life to this COVID? And what do you plan to do differently once
So I
this
think
lockdown
from
is over?
I won't bore you guys with my day-to-day job,
Mm.
but from an investment point of view, so just before COVID-19 happened, me and some other people actually started with this thing that we were buying properties and then putting a permit on it and then renting it out. So sort of HMOs in
HMO
Amsterdam.
style. Okay.
Yeah. And we were, because of the returns being so high, like you could think of 7-8% in Amsterdam,
Wow.
which is really good. So we were like, okay, and there was such a big demand. You buy a property, you split it, and there will be tons of people. Because every time I put something online, I had like 30 people replying, and I literally had to disappoint all these people. So I was like, for me, it was a done case. It was a guaranteed money game. And COVID-19 happens, and people don't really want to live with strangers anymore. They don't
Yep,
even want to
yep,
leave their house.
yep, yep,
And
yep.
then in a time frame of 2 weeks, things
It
just
all
completely
changed.
changed. And we had two properties that we didn't complete on yet. And we were like, oh gosh, we don't know what's going to happen. So I think the unexpected happened.
So did you
Like you
put that
think,
on hold, or you
no,
just
we
pulled
had to
out?
complete. No, we had to complete.
Okay,
And the properties are currently on the market. As we speak, viewings are taking place right now, actually.
good stuff.
So there's agents there doing viewings right now. And I think
Remo
we'll rent it out, but we had to adjust it. Like
remote
outside setup.
remote viewings, I guess, right? I mean, virtual
Sorry?
viewings. Virtual viewings.
No, in Amsterdam we just do real viewings.
Oh,
It's not
they're
serious.
doing real viewings. That's good.
Yeah,
That's good. That's great.
there are real viewings because the property is not the same, if you see it through a video or when you see it in real life.
Yep.
So, but I think, as I said before, I think it's just really important to look at the wider economy. And I think when looking at a deal, don't just look at the standard sheet whereby you look at the property value, the rents, and so on. Really look into what is happening. Like just forget about the spreadsheets. That's your first step. Then, like, okay, what is happening? Walk around. How do I feel in this area? Do I think people will want to live here when things go a bit bad? How is it in the evening? And also just look at the population growth. That's something that I never used to do, but that's so important, which I've learned from my professional career. Before they invest in any city, they'll look at the population growth and the expected population growth. And
This
based on
is a
that,
key point that you should look at. I think a lot of people base their values on Excel sheets and spreadsheets and all that kind of stuff. It's time that people change their perspective and stop looking at the computer and putting in their figures in, and getting that balance sheet out and saying, okay, this is what my return. But no, actually go out there. That's a good point, Sherry. Are you doing that differently? I mean, are you going to the area in the
yeah,
daytime, in the evening time, in the nighttime, seeing the population growth, see
yeah.
how it's there? And are you comparing yourself to the fact that, would I live in this area if I had the opportunity?
Sorry, I have to comment on this.
Yep.
because that's actually, I didn't explain it properly. So yes, if there's population growth, there will be increased rental demand,
Of
which will
course.
put your rental prices up. But
Of
also,
course.
if there's more people who need to live somewhere, which will also push up the price values. So that's a very key point, because some areas or some cities have declining population. So even
Yep.
though things are good now, in the future it might not be like that anymore. So you want to be in cities and places where there's population growth. Could be from a lot of children being born, but it could also be that there's certain schools there that a lot of people would want to join, or there's a stadium coming and a lot of people will work in the stadium for some reason, and you need to be in an area
And
where
you can use this analogy or this study in every city, every country of the world. It's not just Amsterdam, or it's not just London.
no.
If you go according to the population growth, then you can choose the right city, the right country, and the right property to get you the right return. Would that be correct?
Exactly. So I think that's the key point for me now, which I sort of didn't realize when I bought my first properties.
Okay.
It's like you have to really look at population growth, and that really can sort of direct you in towards the right direction. So I think,
So all
yeah,
your deals are now based on the amount of babies that people are having.
sort of, yeah. I think it's important, but also not just the amount of babies, but for example, for Amsterdam, a big pharmaceutical head office just went to Amsterdam, moved to Amsterdam. They took 2,000 of their employees.
Yep.
Those kind of things, people keep on
Yep.
pouring this thing.
It's all
So,
right. It always happens, especially when you're doing that. When I'm also doing these live sessions, people start
yeah,
calling. But
I think it's population
so
growth, whether it's from baby making, whether it's from people moving there, offices moving there. So you have to look at the wider economy. Don't just look at the send you. Look at the wider economy.
sure. And so is that something that you're doing differently right now? That's one of the
Yeah, definitely. I think step one,
perspective that you're looking towards, that when you're going for a
yeah,
property deal, the first thing that hits your mind is, okay, what's the population like? How is it
yeah,
going to grow in the next 10 years?
yeah.
All that kind of
So
stuff.
for me personally, so I am looking outside of Amsterdam at the moment, because
Okay.
Amsterdam was amazing, is still amazing, but I think you can get higher returns. So the first thing I did when I was researching potential other cities is looking at population growth, in the highest population growth in the Netherlands. Looked at the
Okay.
highest population growth. Then, once you've identified it, I've seen that Utrecht is very high, like high population growth coming years. Den Haag, Rotterdam, those kind of areas. So you look at the population growth. Then when you find out the cities that have high population growth, then you sort of drill down. Okay, what are the returns like? What are the house prices
So
like? What are
once you
the
see the population, then look at the spreadsheet, or then
yeah,
look at the market. So
yeah.
it's good.
Even if
It's a good analogy. I mean,
if a deal,
yeah.
yeah, if a deal is perfect on paper. So for example, a good example, an area that I've researched was Detroit. So
Okay.
Detroit has really high returns because houses are really cheap.
I mean,
So, and
it's a
really, really
dead
cheap.
city, right? I've seen a
Exactly.
few
Exactly. So
videos.
on paper, Detroit has amazing returns and it's like the best place to go to. But in reality, it has a declining population.
Mm.
So it could be perfect. And
I
if
mean,
you get
at
perfect,
one point, Detroit used to be the
booming.
city to be in, like, for example, Las Vegas or something like that. But
Yeah,
now it's
it
like,
was the motor city, isn't it?
yeah,
But
yeah, the
now that has
derbies and
changed.
everything. I mean,
That's
the only reason I know a bit about Detroit is because I watched the what's that? Not Top Gear, the other one, the Grand Cruise, the Grand Tour. That's it, with Jeremy Clarkson on Amazon Prime. They have it, and they covered this section of the motor racing in Detroit. But it was good. So finally,
So he says final. Should we take a question or do you have any question?
no, go ahead. Take the question. Let's say we've got 10 minutes. So, but then if amazing returns and cheap properties means increased competition from landlords, go on, Cherry.
Yeah.
This is your.
Okay. So yeah, there are increased competition from landlords. Even in Amsterdam now, there's so many people. A lot of my friends, a lot of my contacts are into property investment. But I don't see it as competition, to be honest. I think there's enough for everyone. You
I
know,
mean, it's always the case, right? It's always if there was competition, then why would so many property developers make so many properties? I mean, it
yeah,
doesn't make sense. So
and that, yeah,
it's for everyone. It's a rental investment. You got to go out there. You got to invest in property. Like Sherry said, you just heard it. Look at the population. Look at where that city is when you're looking at the city to invest in, and where do you think it's going to be in the next 10 years? I think it's a great demographic to look at to see how your investment's going to be like over the next 10 years, 20 years, 5 years even.
and the other thing that I have taken, so this is all my personal strategies, right? I'm not saying that this is right or wrong. It all depends on how
The
involved you want
individual.
to be.
Exactly.
So, but for me personally, this is the key takeaway. So I first of all look at population growth. That's my step one now. Secondly, I don't want to buy in a market that's already up there. I want to buy somewhere where I could have a bit of capital appreciation. Because for me, I'm trying to create cash flow, but I also want to
Absolutely.
create generational wealth. You don't get
Absolutely.
generational wealth, or you don't become wealthy with just having some cash flow, isn't it? So you want to buy somewhere whereby when you walk through that area, you could really feel the energy. You could see new restaurants opening. I don't want to buy in a complete hood because that's a long-term game. And I'm sort of like a mid-term investor. I want to see the results in the next
5 years,
five,
10 years.
10 years.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep.
So, but you want to buy somewhere whereby things are still changing. Like, you could see mixed demographics, not completely white demographics, not
Okay.
completely black demographics, just mixed demographics.
Mix.
You want to see that change kind of thing. And
Cool.
I think those kind of areas are good to invest in. So areas that are about to pop. So Brixton, 5 years ago, for example. Um, or a Hackney, or in Amsterdam, Balmer, for example. So you want to buy somewhere where there's still growth. And I think as a young investor that's still building, I need that capital appreciation for me to build
Absolutely, because
further.
you have to take out the equity and you have to reinvest it. You have to get more properties. You have to keep going on that ladder. Finally, what
Mm-hmm.
would your advice be to a young investor or someone looking to get into the property investment sector? What would you advise them to? I mean, we've spoken about the things that you mentioned about population and everything, but just a bit of inspiration. What would you say to them?
I think anyone can do it. Like I don't think you should look at, oh, I'm not having enough money right now, or I can't do it. You should think outside of the box. If you find a good deal, there's always people who want to invest with you because there's not enough good deals, and there's not a lot of people with money don't have the time to look for good deals. So I
Yep.
think that's the first thing. Just, if you see a deal that's good, just start researching, know your numbers, and then the funding structure will come.
Okay.
Another thing, especially in the Netherlands, you don't need a lot of money to start buying property. You could buy a property with, I think it's like 95% mortgage or 97% mortgage,
Wow.
something like that. Your first property only, you know.
Okay.
Um, but calm down.
But it's still
Um,
good. It's still good. I mean, people over here are struggling to get their first property, but in
yeah, they're
Amsterdam you can
struggling for
get
the
them. So
10%. That's crazy. 10% in London is crazy. But so I think just don't think it's not for you or something. I'm still young. I'm still under 30. I'm still growing as well. It's not like, you just go with what you have at the moment and try to make something out of it. And even if you can't do anything by yourself, you can always find a friend that has the same sort of mindset. When
and
I
then
started
you can
working,
sort of partnership together, JV together into a property, and then get the ball rolling.
exactly, yeah.
Cool.
So just start. Don't think it's not for you. I think, just be your
Positive.
exactly. You should always think the best is yet to come. So
Super. That's great. Um, so like Sherry mentioned that, look, guys, whoever's listening and whoever's going to listen over the next 24 hours, if you're looking to buy in Amsterdam,
are you saving this?
yeah, it's going to go on my life story for the next 24
Oh,
hours. So
hi.
anyone who wants to invest in Amsterdam, do go and speak to Sherry. She's obviously going to help you out start to finish. I don't know whether she's going to charge a fee or not, but she will definitely look into that for you. So thank you so much for coming on. It was absolutely amazing. I mean, this is the first time I've ever heard a property investor talk to me about population. see
Yeah.
population, and then invest. Normally, I speak to investors. Oh, my spreadsheet said no. My spreadsheet said this. My spreadsheet said. Anyways, so thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure. Once lockdown's over, let's meet up. Let's talk business. Let's see how things can move forward.
Absolutely.
And I would possibly be interested in brokering for properties in Amsterdam. So I would like to talk to you about that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um, so once again, thank you so much for popping on.
Thank you. Thank you for having
Appreciate
me.
it.
And good luck on your journey.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Take care. Bye
See
bye.
you. Bye bye. So, thank you everyone that jumped on the show today. It was absolutely amazing having you guys, having Sherry on board, getting all that property advice, comparing it to London, how Amsterdam is different, how the investment structure is different. I do these live sessions every single day with different people from all around the place, London, America. Like today, we're speaking to someone in London based, doing stuff in Amsterdam. So we've got a 2 p.m. today and a 6 p.m. today. The 2 p.m. one should be good. It's about life coaching. Let's see how it goes. And then at 6 p.m., I'm speaking to another property agent based in London. So thank you so much to everyone that tuned in. Have a great Friday ahead. Enjoy whatever you're doing in lockdown and stay safe. Take care. Bye bye.